Community banking was never meant to blend in. It was meant to build trust, build culture, and build something that lasts. I'm Susan Guess, and this is Built to Matter, a podcast about brand, leadership, and building institutions and lives that leave a legacy. WOW wasn't a rebrand. It was a decision to raise the standard of how we serve. 2 decades later, it still guides everything we do. Before WOW, our mantra was the Express Bankers. And over time, that phrase became misunderstood. Some people thought it was about speed. And while serving our customers in a timely manner always mattered, Express really was about something deeper. It was about people going out to meet customers where they were, building relationships face to face, and being present in the moments that mattered. But as time passed, the meaning of that phrase started to get lost. At the same time, we kept hearing something else from customers, a single word. People would say it after a great experience. They would say it when someone at the bank went above and beyond. They would say it when the bank showed up in the community in ways they didn't expect. They would say, "Wow." Over time, we realized something important. We didn't create the word. WOW found us. It was our former bank president who recognized that WOW captured everything we aspired to be and more. 2 decades ago, we made a deliberate decision to add WOW to our brand, not as a slogan, but as a promise to show up differently, to listen more closely, to care more deeply, and to create experiences that feel personal, thoughtful, and memorable. When we adopted WOW, we weren't just choosing a logo, we were choosing how we wanted to show up. Banks by nature project seriousness, and they should. When people trust you with their money, they want to know you're capable. They want to know you're responsible. But people also want to feel connected to the institutions they trust. They want to feel comfortable walking through the door. They want to feel like the people inside know them. WOW allowed us to express both competence and connection. Serious about our responsibility, but approachable to people. And over time, it opened doors we didn't even know were possible. Of course, in the beginning, there were skeptics. Some people wondered if it was sophisticated enough. Some wondered if it would last. Some assumed it was just a campaign. And to be fair, over the last 20 years, there have been moments when people questioned it again. Sometimes people simply want something different. But one of the things we've learned along the way is that brands require stewardship. There were times we had to protect it, because when a brand becomes powerful, it becomes tempting to change it just for the sake of change. At one point, we even conducted consumer research with a national advertising agency. The results showed something remarkable. We had nearly 100% recognition of our brand. Think about that. If people already recognize you at that level, why would you start over? Why would you replace something meaningful with a generic statement that could belong to anyone? That's when you realize the value of staying consistent. Over the years, there have also been people who've tried to copy elements of what we've done. And honestly, that's always a form of flattery. But I once read something that really stuck out with me. Someone can copy one big idea, but they can't duplicate 100 things that you've done meticulously well. And that's the difference. A logo can be copied, a color scheme can be copied, a tagline can be copied. But the strength of a brand comes from how it's lived, from the consistency behind it, from the discipline behind it, and most importantly, from the people who bring it to life. One of the ways we protected the brand is by holding a high standard for quality, and that includes photography. We live in a world of filters, a world where it's easy to create a version of yourself that isn't quite real. But when you're a bank, trust matters. And part of the trust is recognition. When someone sees an employee's photo, that person should look like themselves, not a filtered version, not an edited version, just them. So we've been intentional. We use high quality photography. We work with an award-winning photographer for our employee photos. And we keep everything consistent. One photo shouldn't be filtered when the others are not, because inconsistency chips away at the strength of a brand. Trust is built in the details, and brand is built in the details. Over the years, we've also treated the logo itself as something dynamic. The O became a canvas. In the fall, it might be a leaf. At Christmas, it might be a snowman. At Valentine's Day, it could be a heart. Sometimes it becomes the faces of our employees and customers. Sometimes it reflects something happening in the community. Because when a brand never changes, it eventually starts feeling distant. When it evolves with intention, it stays alive. And here's a fun detail. If you turn WOW upside down, it reads Mom. So on Mother's Day, we always have a fun moment in our world, because brands should always have personality. And when you layer that personality with people who genuinely care about the communities they serve, something powerful happens. The brand stops being something you say, and it becomes something people experience. It shows up in how employees greet customers, how they solve problems, how they support the community, and how they take care of the people who choose us. That's what gives WOW its meaning, not the letters, the people. When I think about the WOW brand today, I realize something that's a little humbling. This will probably be one of the greatest legacies of my career. What we built at Paducah Bank around this brand will outlast me, and I hope it does. Because the true power of creating something meaningful is when people are still talking about it years later. A brand like that becomes bigger than the people who started it. The challenge for me, or whoever follows me, is making sure it never becomes static. You can't live forever on what made something great 20 years ago. What matters is what makes it great today. Because brands don't stay strong by protecting the past. They stay strong by continuing to earn their meaning. And now, in 2026, we have the opportunity to celebrate the impact of WOW all year long, the moments it shaped, the relationships it strengthened, and the trust it earned. Because WOW is not just what we say, it is how we serve. It is how we connect. It is how we make banking feel human. 20 years later, WOW isn't a campaign. It's identity. And if there's one lesson in that journey, it's this. The brands that endure aren't the ones that chase attention. They are the ones that stay true to who they are, built with intention, built with discipline, built to matter.